This is Transforce96 here with another Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure review. This time it is for the from the Spider-Man wave, the Space Knight Venom Build-A-Figure. So this was a pretty neat one. When it was actually announced, I was quite interested in it, and I started looking up the character and reading more about him. And he actually was a form of Venom that I wasn't really familiar with, and it was really fun to kind of get to know the character, and it made me quite excited for the Build-A-Figure. But for the figure itself, I actually wasn't too looking forward to him. I was excited about the character, but the figure looked relatively basic, you know, just kind of, you know, like a big mold of an average Marvel Legends figure. Getting in person, actually fully building it, he actually is slightly different, has slightly different proportions than I was actually expecting, which is kind of interesting. To go over the actual figure, though, let's get right into it. You'll need 6 figures to build him, which is kind of nice because as of late, the norm nowadays is 7 or 8 figures to Build-A-Figure instead of the usual 6. So it is nice to get another Build-A-Figure that's just a solid 6 figures instead of having to buy so many figures to actually build them. So that is quite cool. Alright, so the head sculpt is really neat. I mean, the design of the head sculpt I actually kind of like. It reminds me of something like kind of Ben 10 type of look to it. I don't know why, it's just kind of always reminded me of that. And it looks very cool. Very nice. I like the way that the chin points, the eyes are done in kind of like it's a very light yellow, as you can see kind of there, but there's so much of the eye that's covered that it really does almost, you can't see it a lot of the times. The white on black is a very good contrast, and it's obviously a signature Venom color, and it's painted pretty nicely. I mean, for the completely different colors that they don't seem to be much smudging or anything like that, which is pretty decent. One thing I absolutely love is with this Venom symbol here. It's a very cool looking Venom symbol, and I like the way that it lays over all of his muscles, and it is also all actually kind of raised in relief on the sculpt, which is very cool. It's not just painted. I was expecting it just to be painted, so to actually see that it's all raised detail is really nice, and it's raised quite a bit too, so it's really noticeable. It's not just like slightly raised, which I do like. He has the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of like patches on his shoulders, which look excellent. They're painted really well. However, with these, I would like these to be raised. I think that those would almost be more beneficial to have raised than the some of the white detailing. So I wish that was kind of raised in relief. However, it's still quite good, and I do like a lot of it. You know, they're painted very evenly, which is nice. As far as the rest of them, he is just kind of like the big, you know, kind of bulky version of a regular Marvel Legends figures. You have a couple of unique details, like on the arms here, as well as on the hands, where you do have these kind of like diamond patterns, which looks very cool, and then on the feet, which looks quite nice. On the back, you can still see more of that detail, and you almost have more white on the back because like the back of his legs have white on them, and then the kind of like just the inner pieces of his arms have white, and the insides of his hands are white, which is very cool. I like where the white is like on this body. I think it's very cool. I do like the positioning of that a lot, and it is quite different from the other Venoms that we've seen so far, and I will be showing him with both the Guardians of the Galaxy as well as the previous Venoms. So, which is very nice. He's got hands that are very sharp, actually. Like when you go in to like pull his hand back, the fingernails actually kind of hurt your thumb, which is kind of interesting. They're sharper than I expected, but they look very cool. I like the expression that they're in. They work nicely, you know, for just a relax, having him stand there, and then they work great as aggressive, lunging towards you, you know, with his hands open type of look as well. So they work really nicely. Basically, no matter what pose you have them in. As far as the articulation, it's pretty standard for Marvel Legends. However, I thought that it would be slightly more hindered than it actually is, which is quite good. First of all, his head can look up a fair amount. I have found, I mean, this looks really good, but I have found that during some of the times that I've posed him, I've wanted him to look up a bit more than this, and he's kind of gets stopped. So it would have been nice if he could look up slightly more, even though he does still have a good range. He can look down a fair amount, even with that big chin. However, when you turn his head to the side, he does have a bit of the side look. You can't really get his head super straight into the side and having it point down, but it's still quite good. Ball hinge shoulders, which are pretty basic. Swivel at the bicep. He has just single hinged elbows, so you get basically a 90 degree there. Then you have hinge swivel wrists. Can hinge in this much, and then when you're hinging it out, you have to make sure this diamond pattern, which is raised on the sculpt, you have to make sure that the tip of it goes into his arm there instead of out. and that's how you can have it bend forward. There you go. And it bends forward very nicely, which I do like. He's got an ab crunch, which goes down quite far and goes back pretty decent. So I do like the range on that ab crunch. You have a waist swivel. Ball joint hips, this is the area that I thought would be slightly more restricted than this, but it's actually pretty good. It goes out quite far, and then it goes forward very far. For a Build-A-Figure, that is very far, so I'm quite happy with that. And then the thigh ball joints feel very sturdy as well, which is nice. He's got swivel at the biceps, double hinge knees, and considering he is a bulky figure, however his legs aren't as bulky as some of his other features, which is why he can still have the double hinges at the knees. And then the ankles are quite good. They hinge down very far, they hinge up much further than I was expecting, and then they of course have a good ankle rocker. So his articulation is quite good. You know, I figured that it would be slightly, it wouldn't have as good of a range as it actually does in some of the key areas, so that is quite nice. Giving him a comparison with the Guardians, I do have the, I believe it was an Entertainment Earth exclusive box set of Guardians of the Galaxy figures. Alright, knocking stuff over here. He fits in very nicely with them. Like, it doesn't feel, wow, I really can't do this. It doesn't feel like he is odd with them. You know, you think that like Venom with the Guardians, it would look kind of strange. However, it fits in very nicely. I think that his style fits in with the style of the Guardians based on how they've kind of designed this new Venom. I think that he looks quite nice with them, and he's in a pretty good proportion. You know, he's obviously the bulkiest one on the team, but certainly shorter than Groot there. So he looks excellent with them if you wanted to display Space Knight Venom with them. And then, as well as the other Venoms that we've received recently from Hasbro in the Marvel Legends line, we've got the Agent Venom, the Classic Venom, and then the Superior Venom. Very cool. They all look quite nice together. The one that really stands out is the Superior Venom because he's like a different shade of black. Like the Agent, Classic, and Space Venoms are all this dark black, and then the Superior Venom has like this charcoal gray kind of, or light black, you know, type of look. So he kind of doesn't fit in quite as nicely as I would have hoped. However, they all still look very cool together. I like that it's the same character, although, you know, there's different people wearing the suit sometimes. However, I like that it's the same character from the comics, but just in 3 completely different looks. Like, all of these are so unique in their own right. However, you can tell that they're obviously, they have the same design to them, the same base design, you know, which is quite neat. So I actually like all the Venoms together quite a bit. I think this is a nice addition. You know, I hope that they just keep making strange and unusual versions of Venom, just so I can keep like adding and make like a Venom collection. That would be pretty cool, I must say. But overall, this is a pretty decent Build-A-Figure. I would say he's not huge, but he's certainly big enough to qualify as a Build-A-Figure. And for the fact that you only have to buy 6 instead of the 7 or 8 that we're seeing now a lot of the times, it does make him feel like a bit more of a value because of that as well, which is quite nice. So I'm quite happy with this figure. If you're interested in the character, this is definitely going to be a good one for you. And the wave itself is pretty solid. I mean, there was some figures I wasn't super looking forward to, but the rest were pretty good, and I enjoyed the wave as a whole, I would say, and the Build-A-Figure seems like a nice way to complete it. So there you go. That's my video review of the Marvel Legends from the Spider-Man series Space Knight Venom Build-A-Figure. Let me know what you guys think of the figure, and thanks so much for watching.